Screens. Caruso ends up guarding Brogdon and blocked him.
Go shoot for you.
Here's Burks. Caruso.
Oh, bookies.
Cut by Io. Oh, biscuits.
Another turnover.
Nom.
Marketing. Knocked away by Caruso. Here comes Alex behind the...
Remember the whole Alex Caruso craze back when he was on the Lakers? It seemed like he was one of the most popular players in the entire world while he was there. But once he signed with the Chicago Bulls, the hype died down. Even so, in Chicago, he's been playing the best he's ever played before. He even made the all-defensive first team, an incredible achievement. Yet, despite that, he hasn't gotten the same recognition he used to get. That's about to change, because people truly do not know his monumental impact on the game. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today, let's take a look at some players who don't get talked about much, maybe because their numbers aren't that eye-catching, but they're way, way better than you think they are. Without further ado, let's begin. I might as well start off with Caruso. He's the definition of a guy who you can't judge his value based on his box score numbers. To give you an idea of his impact, Bruin Sports Analytics wrote an article a few years back, calculating a player's intangibles, or residuals as they called it. Alex Caruso finished number 1 on that list. With his modest numbers, his value is not seen on paper. But for anyone who's watched him or the Chicago Bulls in recent years, the dude changes the game so much. Out of every player on the Bulls who play 15+ minutes, Caruso actually has the highest net rating on the team. Not DeRozan, not Levine, Caruso. He also has the highest scoring efficiency and around the same player impact estimate as the 2 stars on his team. Now, he's never gonna make an all-star team, but he makes just as much of an impact as most stars in the NBA. I think people are finally taking notice. His defense stands out, and we've all seen moments where he locks up his opponent. It's not just his athleticism and quickness that allows him to keep up with the NBA's biggest stars. It's his incredible defensive IQ. With a 3% steal percentage over the past couple years, he leads the league in this category, along with his 3.4 deflections per game, good for top 10 in the league, despite averaging fewer than 30 minutes a game. Everything about Alex Caruso just screams winning player and winning mentality. He could be such a valuable commodity for any team, and I wish I could see him play for a contender, instead of a Bulls team with no sense of direction. Dillon Brooks. I feel like Dillon Brooks has been collectively blasted from everybody. The fans, the media, even his peers, the players. It was for a good reason. I mean, his last season in Memphis was quite polarizing. Well, maybe that's not the right word, it was awful. Even though he's one of the best defenders in the league, with his All-NBA second team to prove it, that got overshadowed by literally everything else he did. Brooks shot the ball horribly. He took the 3rd most shots on his team, and most notably, he talked so much trash and could never back it up. In the playoffs on the biggest stage, he got manhandled by LeBron James. At this moment, everyone witnessed his horrendous play, and he earned himself arguably the worst reputation in the league. And then, everyone was flabbergasted when the Rockets signed him to an $80 million deal. It's like, what in the world did he do to deserve this? Since then, he's been taking a steaming dump on his critics. In Houston, he's established a new life for himself, playing the best basketball of his career. I think it's mainly due to his role. On a team of developing youngsters, he knows he's the veteran. He knows his role on the team is to guide them as best as he can. He knows he can't be taking a billion shots a game now, because the Rockets don't want him to. Back on the Grizzlies, with all their injury woes and lack of identity, Brooks was doing far too much above his capabilities. Now in Houston, he's taken a step back and playing within his skill set. That's led to better shot attempts, better pacing, deferring more to his young teammates, and playing into the flow of the game, something he's never done before. Out of all Rocket starters, Brooks has the 2nd best net rating, behind Alperen Şengün. He's changed, and now he's an incredibly productive player for this young rebuilding franchise. That contract is definitely worth the value he brings now, on and off the court. Trey Jones and Zack Collins. The gossip, the murmurs about San Antonio has always centered around Victor Wembanyama, as expected. Tre Jones and Zack Collins have quietly developed into very capable players. In the case of Jones, he comes off the bench, but he's the best passer on this team. Check this out. Out of everyone in the NBA who averages at least 6 assists per game, Tre Jones currently has the 3rd best assist-to-turnover ratio, only behind Tyrese Halliburton and Chris Paul. I know they're trying to experiment with Sohan running the point, but his passing just isn't at the same level as Jones, who's more of a natural point guard, and he grew up playing point guard his entire life. So obviously his feel for this position is a lot better than anyone else on this team. Zack Collins is a name that everyone knows of. You probably think of him as the awkward guy on the Blazers, who got a serious foot injury, and when he did play, he had a very hard time making progress. As a former 10th overall pick, he was on a long list of young Blazer centers that succumbed to injuries and never developed. So when he signed with San Antonio, nobody thought much of him as anything but another failed draft prospect. Collins, however, has quickly shed that bust label. He's not just being used as a subpar pick-and-roll man anymore. He's a legitimately well-rounded player, and the Spurs have utilized him numerous ways, even as a playmaker. Collins is averaging a career high in points and assists. His 4 assists per game is by far the most he's ever had, especially with, a career average of just over 1. It's a huge addition to his game that turned him into a starting caliber player. Ivica Zubac. The Clippers have amassed a star-studded lineup. They'd be far and away the best team in the league if this was 2017. Now, this aging roster is on its last legs. 3 of their 4 old stars have yet to win a championship, and that's what they're chasing. Lost in all the dealings and all the rumors surrounding the Clippers is Ivica Zubac, the 5th starter on this team who never gets any recognition. Zubac is the odd man out, but he's been the steady anchor for the last several seasons. There's a reason, amidst all their trades and signings, Zubac remained the starting center because he's a great complementary piece for this squad. He's always near the top of the league in offensive rebound rate. He's an effective off-ball player, setting good picks and running to the rim when he needs to. Zubac is far from being a complete player, but he's comfortable in his role and does what he's asked to do. I think on a team like this, it suits him perfectly. Plus, if he does not perform well, he's never gonna get the blame. It's always gonna be on his teammates. Heck, that's definitely a situation I'd love to be in. Anyway, that's all folks. Those were 5 NBA players who are much better than you think they are. What are your thoughts? Let me know if you can think of any other overlooked players who got better recently but has not gotten the recognition. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.